Looking ahead into the future, in your opinion, what do you see as the next big opportunity for AI in banking?
I believe in automating prototyping so that we can deliver features that customers might need very fast, test it on customers, see their response, do they like it, do they not, and if they like it, start building on top of that, so that experimentation in banks becomes really fast and quick. And the second one, as I mentioned, is redefining what customer service is through AI.
If you had to bet on one thing that AI will fundamentally change for banking, what would it be?
Customer service. DSK was actually the first to launch first fully AI assistant on the website. It was in July of last year, 2025. Next, we launched it in a new mobile application, DSK Mobile, in February. And actually right now, we are fully changing how customers could interact with the AI on website.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Recursive Podcast. My name is Dilyana and today we're going to talk about one of the hottest topics right now, AI, and more specifically AI in banking. AI now is everywhere, but what's even more interesting is how it's influencing financial institutions. And for this topic, we're going to speak with my guest, Valentin Stepanovich from DSK Bank, where he leads machine learning platforms and responsible for some key projects regarding integration of AI into business. Welcome, Valentin.
Thank you. It is a pleasure.
Great to have you here. And let's start with the big question. How has AI changed the way banks operate on a day-to-day basis?
I wouldn't say it has changed already because everyone is in the process of searching that one application or that one solution or that one approach that would actually change how bank works. But I would say there are several primary topics that banks are interested in. First one, obviously, is how we interact with the customer and how we provide the service, because AI could really do what was previously talked by consultants, give you personalization of service. And anyone who is using ChatGPT or any such tool knows how personalized it feels. And this could be your operating system for finance. So this is the primary thing that we are exploring and we are delivering at DSK, new customer experience for customers using AI. Second topic is obviously operational efficiency and automation of processes with machine learning. This existed for quite a while in banks, and machine learning is already a practice that everyone is using. And AI, generative AI, just adding some touches there, but it's still very important for banks because it is really affecting the bottom line, the costs, and the efficiency of operations, since most of the CEOs have return on investment, return on equity, KPIs, etc. And the third one, the most, I would say, uncertain area is actually using AI for software engineering, because probably this is the primary use case of generative AI that arose after ChatGPT was introduced, using it for automating software engineering, and probably it is one of the biggest areas where there is tangible results. But those tangible results are different from area to area. I will explain what I mean, because on one hand, you see a lot of news how generative AI or AI solution just build the product from ground up, and yet you do not hear any stories where generative AI supports the solution when it is running, or supports legacy systems, or supports products. So this is also one of our experiences, that it is perfect for prototyping. You can really deliver a nice solution, give it to users, be it internal users or customers, and see whether it is adopted or not, and then think about how to bring it into the code base of the bank. And on the other hand, experience with huge code bases, which include the legacy, and the bank, especially traditional one, has a lot of software, a lot of code. It is a mixed bag. So
You mentioned in the beginning that AI is now more than just assistant and a chatbot and etc. In your opinion, for which roles actually AI is replacing faster the real people?
to be honest, I don't see that AI is currently replacing people. Even those headlines that it is that companies like Microsoft, Amazon are cutting staff. Probably they are mostly about aligning the staff level according to real needs versus overhiring during pandemic. So those cuts that are happening to headcount are covered by AI, in my opinion, rather than it is actually AI that is driving it. As I mentioned, it is difficult to replace engineers right now for long-running solutions, for code bases that have multiple years of effort in them. And bringing in AI brings its own challenges. So, for example, there is a new concept of this comprehension debt compared to technical debt, which was previously, or dark code that nobody understands or nobody took effort to understand, and they shipped AI-driven code. But this is fine for prototyping. This is fine for testing new solutions. But once your million of customers rely on that code and nobody knows what is happening, this is on a little bit shaky grounds. So I don't see at this moment threat to actually replace. I see that it is actually changing the jobs because people now rely more on AI to generate code, and there is more effort to actually review it, to understand it. So AI automated your typing speed, your speed of doing prototypes, and then you use more time to actually understand, review it, adjust it, rather than writing that code by yourself. This is one. Another example is actually a call center, because what we find out is that we use AI for servicing customers through chatbots or other solutions, is that there are, unlike with rule-based approaches, rule-based chats, for generative AI, it is very hard to test the results that AI agent generates. So it takes a lot of manual effort to actually go through some of the problematic chats or conversations between user and AI to really understand where the problem is coming from, to guide the developers into solving that problem. I will give an example. If, for example, AI agent gives you some incorrect information about process to apply for cash loan, and it is close to impossible to run another automated process, another AI LLM as a judge approach that would check, is it correct or is it not? Because it relies on the same databases, same infrastructure to check it. So we need a human who actually understands where the problem came from during this conversation. For example, there was uncertainty about, is this business customer or individual customer? Is this foreign customer or Bulgarian native customer? So there is a lot of sources of errors that might creep in, and they are impossible to automate checking. So people job is moving from servicing actual users to checking and ensuring quality of AI agents.
So you mentioned loans. So for example, human interaction will still be needed to approve loans from customers.
That is not exactly what I meant. I meant that post-process of checking whether those conversations or whether those automated processes that are run by AI are indeed correct.
But we will trust AI to approve loans for customers, or we will still need the human interaction?
Well, it depends on the kind of the loan. So, for example, there are plenty of loans that take zero human manual effort to approve, like cash loans, like POS loans, like in shops. And on the other hand, there are other types of loan, like for small and medium enterprise, which require understanding situation of each particular business entity, or mortgage loans where you need to understand market conditions and the actual developer that built the apartment, for example, or the estimate of price of this
So
apartment.
it's depending on the loan.
Yeah, so in those more complex scenarios, we see that AI indeed starting to assist and be a really viable way to support people making final decision. So in those cases, final decision will, for foreseeable future, will be by people. But other processes like cash loans and credit cards or POS loans, they are already automated by just having standardized process, machine learning to assess the risk, etc.
And in your opinion, what's the most overrated AI use case nowadays in the banks?
I would say the one that I said from the beginning, overrated, is hyper-personalization, because still it is something that we believe is enabled by generative AI, but anyone claiming to have hyper-personalized service right now, or generating a lot of profit out of hyper-personalization, is probably overestimating the monetary effect of that, because there is still too much uncertainty, too much regulatory uncertainty about that, and I don't think that there are a lot of use cases that are actually in production with the hyper-personalization. Even if we take away regulatory aspect of it, and for example, my experience is also with the Russian banks, where regulation is less strict than in Europe, there is also more talks about personalization rather than actual money being generated out of it.
So I have you're touching on some really interesting topics, and I have two questions here. The one is the generative AI everyone is talking about. So the first question is what are the risks actually for generative AI in such industry highly regulated like a bank?
I would say that primary question comes to actual AI agents versus just large language model or generative AI that produces your textual response, while AI agent is large language model as a brain making decisions what to do. And those actions that AI agent can take is actual source of risk. So in case of financial industry, it is obvious. So for example, if somebody can prompt engineer AI agent to do something, transfer money from another account to first account, then this is a question to the actual security layer that banks introduces around those AI agents. And this is actually primary focus, to have AI agents running in a cage where they are highly monitored. Every action that they might take are audited, controlled, and there is always a kill switch. So this is the primary thing. Other things include obviously regulatory factors like data processing, general GDPR, that when processing customer information, you can't use just any LLM or any API that Anthropic or any other provider provides. There should be data locality and controls of bank over where this processing is happening and whether the data is actually retained. Because nothing stops the customer to enter his card number, for example, and if it goes to large language model, then we are kind of breaching PCI DSS regulation. So that is why banks are looking at self-hosting LLMs to run it on-premise to reduce those risks. And final part is actually EU AI Act, which introduces controls over which applications it is low risk to run AI, which is high risk to run AI. But generally, customer service part is considered low risk. You just need to notify the customer that you are interacting with the AI and be very transparent and clear about it. And regarding final risks, which are decreasing, there is still some degree of hallucination that is possible. It was especially high during, I would say, 2023 until, or beginning of 2024 until GPT-4o was introduced. From then, level of hallucination really declined, that it is close to non-issue currently. But this is still something that is causing risks.
Are you concerned about AI stealing identities or impersonating clients perfectly online?
This is an interesting topic because actually this is arms race between attackers and defenders. Attackers and defenders in form of security, with the recent announcement of Claude Mythos and how it uncovers vulnerabilities in open source repositories, etc. But on the other hand, which you don't see in use, the fact that generative AI or Google Nano Banana is used to generate identity documents. This is something real, and this is an arm race between actually using machine learning algorithms and AI to check, validate whether this is a correct ID or whether it is a generated ID. This is already happening in Russia. There is some fraud is generated from that source of activity. Here in DSK, we are yet to face such kind of fraud, but having different group members of OTP group in different countries allows to share insights, share practices, and this is something that really makes us worried, or makes us generate new innovative solutions to find the solution to this problem. But yes, you are right. This is some genuine concern that it can be used to generate voice of the customer. You can already do this with the different European startups, even to generate documents, etc.
Yeah, and while we're still on this topic, you mentioned several times fraud. How can AI help reduce fraud?
Well, it is a hard question, reducing fraud, because to actually reduce fraud, you need to understand how it is, what process fraudulent people or fraudulent actors are actually using to bypass the bank's processes. And actually each one requires a certain solution, dedicated solution for that. So in some cases it may be just machine learning models running on a real-time stream of events, what you are doing in mobile application, or what you are doing on a website, or what you are doing with your cards, and to highlight some unexpected or not really regular activity that you are usually doing. Or in other cases, it is solutions that check that information that customer attached is not fake, is not AI generated. These are all different solutions, and unfortunately, fraud is usually very creative. So first couple of cases you would miss, and then you should learn. And now it becomes the question of how fast you could adapt to new problems that arise.
Let's shift a little bit more on the positive side, because AI is helping a lot the banks and the customers. This will be one question, in your opinion, whether it helps more the banks or the customers. But I know that DSK Bank recently launched AI assistant. I think it's the first fully automated AI assistant in Bulgaria. So can you share more details how it changed the operations for the banks and for the customers?
Okay, DSK was actually the first to launch first fully AI assistant on the website. It was in July of last year, 2025. Next, we launched it in a new mobile application, DSK Mobile, in February. And actually right now, we are fully changing how customers could interact with the AI on website. So hopefully by the time when this podcast is live, you can see it on the DSK Bank website, and I really think this is a new kind of user experience for users to search information on the bank. But regarding how it affected the customers, it's very really simple. First, the average response or average quality of answer increased 2 times by the stars or by the estimate that customers provide after each conversation. So it is really twice better than any previous rule-based solution.
So it's bringing faster problem solving.
It understands you better because with the rule-based, you had to understand what you need to say to the chatbot for it to do something. Now you just use your regular language. You don't need to have a degree in finances or explain exactly what product you are using. You just say what your problem is and it solves it.
And that's a huge difference regarding bringing natural language, which differs from the regular chatbot.
Yes. Also, it reduced 2 or 3 times number of chats being redirected to employee, because actually the source of those redirects were either foreigners trying to chat with the rule-based chat, or they cannot explain to rule-based chat what is the problem, and they are transferred to operators. Now, with the number of those transfers decreased, we actually can use time of those operators, their effort, to ensure higher quality of AI-generated responses. And that is our primary goal right now. And the third part, which is important, I would say it made access to bank more democratized. Me being a foreigner in Bulgaria, or my wife as well, she can ask in Russian about services and get proper answer, proper understanding what needs to be done. But also, before launching on the website of this AI assistant, we were running this almost exactly the same AI agent for a year in-house with branch network employees, with contact center employees, which were using this AI agent when servicing the customers to understand some information details from knowledge base of the bank. And we actually got very positive responses, almost 90% positive feedback on each interaction, which actually gave us huge hopes into delivering this to customers.
What problems does it solve better than human, the AI assistant?
Right now, it is only knowledge-based. We are working towards making it fully agentic, meaning that it could analyze your transactions, give you advice on that, do actions on your behalf, like helping you to get a loan, for example. So the next step
will be to act as advisor as well?
It can act as advisor right now, but next step would be so that you can delegate it some financial tasks to solve problems. So, for example, you have a transaction you want to dispute. You say that, okay, this is a problematic transaction, and this is the time where AI agent would take over and try to solve it for you. But what we have rolled out to all customers right now is knowledge-based AI agent, which has information to all processes that are running in DSK. And thus, it can navigate you through what documents you need, what other requirements, or any other question that you might have about DSK. But still, as I mentioned, we are really considering this is just a first step.
The beginning.
Yeah, this is just the beginning. And our long-term goal is to consider it as your financial operating system. So you delegate your financial tasks, your financial goals towards AI.
And huge improvements are ahead of us. But before we move on to that topic, I saw that you're using OpenAI for developing the AI assistant. can you share what you keep in-house and what you're outsourcing?
Okay, OTP Group is actually using Azure as a primary cloud provider. So it is natural, given the relationship between Microsoft and OpenAI, to use Azure private open AI solutions to build AI agents. What we are doing, actually using those, we are using OpenAI as just as a provider of a large language model. Everything else is leveraging open source solutions like LangChain, LangGraph for orchestrating of AI agents and in-house development. And in-house development is primarily focused on making those interactions with the AI secure. That if AI agent needs to take certain action, we are sure that it is authorized by customer, that it is authorized by security, that it is this action is logged, and we know the purpose. So this is a direction that we are taking, and I think it pays off quite well.
Okay. So to wrap up, I have two quick blitz questions, looking for short answers. Just share the first thing that comes to your mind. So looking ahead into the future, in your opinion, what do you see as the next big opportunity for AI in banking?
I believe in automating prototyping so that we can deliver features that customers might need very fast, test it on customers, see their response, do they like it, do they not, and if they like it, start building on top of that, so that experimentation in banks becomes really fast and quick. And the second one, as I mentioned, is redefining what customer service is through AI.
If you had to bet on one thing that AI will fundamentally change for banking, what would it be?
Customer service.
Yeah, good. So these are pretty much my questions, but is there something that you would like to add or share with us, something important that you think is crucial for the conversation and I hadn't asked you?
Well, actually, you asked about which jobs might be replaced, and what we actually see is the opposite. It becomes a big problem to hire people.
Okay.
We are
what kind of people?
Oh, we have different types of roles. We are searching for like ML engineers doing ML models, or software engineers building the platform, the foundation to run AI and ML, or quality assurance. So multiple different roles. And AI fundamentally changes this process of hiring, not in the way I would expect, because it is actually not that employer benefits of AI, using it to assess CVs, resumes, etc. But actually, in reality, we encounter multiple times that people are using artificial intelligence real time during interview process. They have AI teleprompt answering the question.
Really?
Yeah, answering the questions. So, for example, if I ask some technical question, the person, AI at his end of the interview actually hears what I say, and in real time gives you an answer. So there are really funny cases when a person would ask really technical questions, very detailed, and you will think, oh, this is very interesting. And then you ask something about his CV, his experience, some details regarding that context, and he cannot answer.
So maybe interviews should be done in person when possible, but...
As I mentioned, we are really struggling with the hiring, so we are looking for candidates from different countries. And we have a really multinational team in DSK working on innovation and AI. So having live interviews in office is not a viable solution that we might take. So we are actually investigating options to have some AI internship. So it actually opens the opportunity for young students, for people to actually see what it takes to do AI at scale at financial organizations. So my point is more that AI is not taking jobs, it is just changing what is needed.
What's needed. That's interesting perspective actually, because nowadays there is a lot of concern about AI replacing a lot of the job roles. So the conclusion is that it's mostly changing from your experience. Well, thank you very much for this conversation. It brings a lot of clarity regarding the AI integration into financial institutions, banks in particular, and really looking forward to see how all of this involves and explore your new future.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.